An ancient scroll has just been unearthed, and it holds secrets that could change everything we know about Jesus Christ. This document, hidden for centuries, presents a version of Jesus that challenges the traditional narrative, revealing teachings and actions that were considered too dangerous for the Church. What does this different Jesus have to tell us? His words, away from the spotlight, show a side of the story that many prefer to ignore. Imagine a Jesus who doesn't fit into traditional frames, who speaks of love and compassion in ways that have never been publicized. What motivated the Church to silence this version? What truths could be hidden in the pages of this scroll? The answers could shake the foundations of faith for millions. As we delve into this mystery, each detail reveals a new enigma. With each new discovery, a new question arises. How far does the Church's control over the narrative of Christ go? Prepare yourself for a journey of revelations that can transform your view of spirituality. What is at stake is more than a text. It is the essence of faith itself. The parchment in question was written in a period marked by profound social and religious transformations. At the time, the religious community was divided between different schools of thought, each vying for the primacy of their beliefs. It was a time when Christianity was still establishing itself as a religion, and Jewish traditions strongly influenced the practices and teachings of Jesus' followers. The discovery of this scroll is not just an isolated find. It connects to a broader panorama of ancient texts that, like the apocryphal Gospels, challenge the traditional view of Christian history. Furthermore, the cultural community at the time was rich in exchanging ideas. Multiple philosophical and religious currents coexisted, leading to an environment in which the discussion about spirituality was fervent. The scroll reflects this dynamic with its innovative ideas that might have been considered radical. The fact that alternative texts were circulating alongside the canonical Gospels leads us to consider how early Christians interpreted the figure of Jesus and his messages. The discovery of the parchment also raises questions about what has been lost over time. Many texts have been deleted or forgotten, and the relationship of this parchment with other ancient documents can give us clues about narratives that have not reached us. This makes us think about how history has been shaped by the selection and exclusion of certain ideas and texts. Analyzing this historical context is crucial to understanding the relevance of the parchment today. The time of the writing of the scroll is a reminder that faith and spirituality are not static. They evolve as societies change and adapt. Understanding the historical moment in which the scroll was produced helps us appreciate the complexity of the development of Christianity and its interactions with other religious and cultural traditions. The parchment presents a Jesus who distances himself from the traditional image that many know. In it, Jesus is described as a spiritual teacher who emphasizes the importance of self-discovery and personal connection with the divine. This alternative vision highlights a more individualized spirituality in contrast to the institutionalized religiosity of the time. To many, this may sound like a radicalization of his teachings, which were often more focused on collective morality and community practices. Furthermore, the text suggests that Jesus had a broader understanding of social relationships, promoting the idea of inclusion and acceptance. Instead of restricting himself to a specific group, he seems to have preached a message that cuts across social and cultural barriers. This approach can be seen as a response to the challenges of his time, where divisions were common. The teachings contained in the scroll also approach morality differently. Rather than focusing on rigid rules, Jesus in the scroll emphasizes compassion and empathy as guides for life. This perspective may resonate with contemporary people who seek deeper meaning in their spiritual beliefs and practices. Compared to the canonical Gospels, this alternative view of Jesus opens up space for a more comprehensive debate about his nature and teachings. The contrast between the narratives can instigate questions about what really constitutes the essence of Christianity. This reflection is especially pertinent in a world where the diversity of beliefs is increasingly recognized. The alternative portrait of Jesus found on the scroll not only enriches understanding of the character, but also provokes a reevaluation of existing religious traditions. By confronting these different narratives, we are invited to explore the depth and complexity of spirituality, as well as challenge established notions about who Jesus was and what he really taught. The history of censorship of religious texts is long and nuanced. The Church, in certain periods, made decisions about which narratives were considered valid, excluding texts that did not align with its predominant theological vision. This practice was not just a matter of religious control, but also a matter of power and politics. The exclusion of certain writings about Jesus reflects an attempt to maintain orthodoxy and avoid dissent that could divide the Christian community. What is often forgotten in this story is that censorship was not limited to a single type of text. Several documents that offer different perspectives on the life and teachings of Jesus have been suppressed. This deliberate selection helped shape the image the Church wanted to project and preserve its authority. The result was a telling of the life of Jesus that ignored voices that could have enriched Christian understanding. Examples of other texts that have been censored include the Gospels of Thomas and Mary, which present a view of Christianity that diverges from the traditional narrative. The suppression of these writings suggests that the Church was interested in controlling the discussion about the nature of the divine and Jesus himself. This raises questions about the integrity of Christian history and what was lost along the way. Furthermore, text censorship also had social and cultural consequences. Alternative narratives could have promoted a richer dialogue about morality and spirituality, influencing religious practice in a more inclusive way. What is observed, then, is an impoverishment of theological discussion that may have contributed to divisions and conflicts throughout history. The investigation into the censorship of religious texts leads us to reflect on the importance of diversity in spiritual traditions. The history of the Church is a powerful reminder that faith is often shaped by political and social decisions, and that open dialogue is fundamental to a richer, truer understanding of spirituality. When the parchment was discovered, reactions were quick to appear. Theologians from different persuasions soon began to discuss the implications that text could have on the Christian faith. Some were excited, seeing an opportunity to expand their understanding of Jesus and his teachings. Others, however, were apprehensive. The possibility that the ideas contained in the scroll would challenge established traditions led to a series of heated debates. Historians were also interested, as the discovery offered new layers for analyzing the historical contexts in which the first Christians lived. For many, the parchment could illuminate the social and religious relationships of the time, helping to create a more complete picture of early Christianity. Discussions spread to universities and conferences where experts debated the implications of the text for understanding the evolution of religion. On the other hand, the religious community in general had mixed reactions. Some groups welcomed the discovery as a way to deepen their faith, while others found it disturbing. The idea that the traditional narrative could be questioned generated discomfort in many congregations. For many, fidelity to canonical texts is a fundamental pillar of belief, and any challenge to this is seen as a threat. The impact on religious doctrines and practices was also a frequent topic in discussions. As new interpretations emerged, many began to reflect on how these ideas could influence the liturgy and morality of the Christian community. Questions about the nature of Jesus and his message began to be re-evaluated, leading people to reconsider what it really means to practice their faith. Thus, the discovery of the parchment not only generated academic debates, but also provoked a deep reflection on contemporary religious identity. The voices that emerged in this context range from acceptance to resistance, revealing a diverse panorama of reactions that resonate to this day. The new interpretations of Jesus proposed by the scroll raise intriguing questions for modern Christian theology. One of the main implications concerns the nature of Christ. If the characteristics and teachings of the Jesus described in the scroll differ from the traditional narrative, it could lead to a re-evaluation of how Christians understand Jesus' divinity and humanity. For many, this duality is essential to faith, and any change in this perception can generate confusion and debate. Furthermore, the concept of salvation is another point that deserves attention. The scroll can present a different perspective on what it means to be saved and how it relates to everyday life. This new view may challenge the idea that salvation is exclusively a matter of faith or adherence to specific doctrines. For some, this may open up a space for a more inclusive spirituality that encompasses a variety of human experiences. The relationship between the church and society can also be impacted. If the scroll suggests new ways of understanding morality and social relations, it could influence how the church positions itself on contemporary issues such as social justice and human rights. This rediscovery of values can instigate reflection on the role of the church in modern society, especially in times of increasing diversity and plurality. The philosophical implications of this new interpretation are equally relevant. Questioning established truths can lead to a revival of critical thinking within the Christian community. Members are challenged to think about their beliefs more deeply rather than accepting them without question. This can result in a more dynamic and adaptable Christianity that seeks to understand the ever-changing world. Reflection on the role of the church in this new scenario is crucial. With new interpretations at play, the institution may be forced to reconsider its approach and practice. This can generate both resistance and innovation, as the church struggles to stay relevant in a world where the search for meaning and truth is more complex than ever. The search for historical truth has always been a relevant topic, especially when it comes to religious figures. History is often shaped by narratives that are accepted as true, but which may not reflect the totality of the facts. When new documents like the parchment in question come to light, they provoke a re-evaluation of the stories we know. This is crucial so that we can understand the complexity of beliefs and practices of different cultures and times. Furthermore, historical truth is not limited to just past events. It influences the way contemporary societies see themselves and relate to their traditions. When a text challenges the traditional view of a central figure such as Jesus, it can generate heated discussions. The religious community, academics, and the general public begin to debate the validity of their beliefs and how they are based on specific interpretations of history. Another important issue is how these discoveries can impact the cultural identity of a people. By re-examining the figure of Jesus in light of new documents, communities can find new ways of understanding their spirituality. This can lead to a revival of practices and beliefs that have been left aside for centuries, bringing new vitality to faith and culture. Furthermore, the search for a more accurate understanding of the past can promote more open dialogue between different religious traditions. When people are faced with alternative narratives, they may feel more inclined to question their own beliefs and thus foster a space of respect and mutual learning. This exchange can enrich the spiritual and cultural experience of everyone, regardless of their origin. The search for historical truth is an ongoing effort that invites us to reflect on what we know and what remains to be discovered. This helps us understand not only the past, but also shape a future where curiosity and the pursuit of knowledge are valued. After all, the truth, when found, has the power to transform the way we live and relate to the world around us. And so we come to the end of this intriguing journey through the ancient scroll that reveals a different Jesus. The information contained in this text, prohibited by the Church, makes us question everything we know. Who really was Jesus? What teachings could he have shared that were considered so dangerous? Imagine if the words and actions of Jesus that we know were just one part of a much larger story. What if this different Jesus had a message that could change the way we live today? What else is hidden in the shadows of history? This mystery does not end here. There are many other apocryphal texts and hidden secrets waiting to be uncovered. Can you imagine what other secrets the Vatican might be keeping? What conspiracy theories are yet to come? Stay tuned, because in the next video we'll explore new discoveries that could shake the foundations of faith as we know it. Don't miss it, because the truth can be even more surprising than fiction. Leave your opinions on what we just discussed in the comments and share your theories. The search for the truth continues, and you don't want to be left out.